So this is just a general class, I'll say, like where we are not like digging into anything specific related to academics or anything like that. It's general just general things, right? So when we were discussing, like when we fellow teachers teaching students were discussing stuff, so I think one of the few people brought up this topic, right, where like you all are new, like freshmen, and even like a little time and discussing certain things, and not just like the course related stuff, but like in general is good. And I thought that's actually a good idea to discuss and have a good time, like just to talk to each other, and maybe discuss some few things which some people think are difficult, or because there's gonna be struggles and obstruction, like all those stuff, right? Everything not gonna go smooth as always, right? So, and it's not even for me, right? Because I remember my undergrad, like when you start new, there's so many different things that happen and will happen, right? And if there's always someone to guide you, let's say, so it's always beneficial, right? So like having opinions or advices from someone always helps. You need not every time take it in and like follow that, of course, but like it's always good to have information, right? That's what we know, like in anywhere, in life, basically it's good to have information. And once you have the information, it's on you to analyze it, and then figure out if it's good, bad, and like move on, right? So and it's just not that someone's senior, right? So many people among you probably, so they're like so I just put up this thing where you could like put up some hardships or stuff, right? So I think everyone will have different stuff, or maybe actually many of you will have some many things common that you all are facing issues with, or difficulty with, or might improve on, or something like that. And it's necessarily not that I can give you an answer, right? I mean, I am not probably of course not the guy, but it is possible that many people among you already are struggling, or already have overcome it, or already have some solution to it, right? So that's why I decided that this is not going to be a one-on, like me or talking to you guys, but it's like we are all together in this one. Like just imagine we are on a round table, we are like just talking and discussing stuff, right? So kind of a panel discussion where we are all together discussing certain topic. um, because I am sure many of you have probably have better solutions than what maybe I can say, or maybe my advice, right? It's very much likely. So just imagine that I'm not the only the one who's going to talk. So what I planned, and this is very impromptu, right? I haven't opened any of your whatever you have put in. So I'm just gonna of course, I'm gonna keep it anonymous, but I'm gonna read it, and then I'm gonna try to answer it like just by reading it. So I haven't prepared anything or stuff, right? So it's gonna be very organic and natural, right? So that's why if it's very likely that any one of you will also have some advice on any topic, and I really encourage you to talk during that time, because I'm sure you might have better solutions than probably what I give. So yeah, just keep that in mind. We're gonna be open. This is a roundtable discussion. Just chill out. Don't worry about anything, and just talk. Like give any advice or any opinion or whatever you want to talk about on that topic, if you have anything, right? Um, so yeah, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open that. So yeah, let's go for the first one. So the first one says, one aspect of myself is that I wish to overcome perfectionism. I have this thing where I want everything to happen perfectly, but life is always full of surprises, so I will never know what is going to happen. Another one is social anxiety. Whenever I am in a situation that I am not most comfortable in, I try to stay confident, because confidence is most likely 90% of the thing. I may not be most comfortable in that given condition, but if I look that I am, I would be treated well. Yeah, I think that's a good point. So one point is perfectionism, right? Which makes sense. I mean, of course, no one is perfect, and no one probably never will be perfect, right? Um, but of course, striving to overcome one's uh, let's say the things that you think you can improve on, or certain things that you think you can like take, like get into you, or like inculcate into your personality or your in general lifestyle. Of course, that's always recommended, right? You should for sure do that. Yeah, so yeah, but so they mentioned that it's full of life is full of surprises, so we never know what's going to happen next. So that's the I think that's actually perfect. And so what I personally do is I will, of course, so my thinking is I have a pseudo plan for stuffs, right? So I have a paradigm set, like let's say, like for example, for this class, a very like concrete example. I kind of knew what I was gonna do. Like I just knew I'm gonna open this stuff, read, and we're gonna discuss, right? But I had no concrete plan. I never have a concrete plan of what I'm gonna do, because if you have concrete plans and you just stick to it, then you're like hardwired to follow certain things strictly, right? And then if let's say something different happens, any random event occurs, and it doesn't go according to what you have planned, then it's possible that you're gonna panic. Depends on the individual, of course, but like then you will just be go out of the rail, right? So it's always better to be spontaneous. That's my motto. That's what I've been doing all my life, and I'm gonna probably do, because I stay spontaneous, and I believe, and that's what even probability teaches us, or even for example how the universe is, quantum mechanics is. It's about, because there's always randomness in the world, right? So things are going to happen. So unless you are spontaneous and you can like adapt to situations actively, it might be tricky. Of course, not always, but I think it's one of the good things that I think is, but that is the natural way of the universe. That's what I feel. So of course you should have pseudo plans and pseudo structure of what you are doing or want to do or whatever, but you should always be spontaneous and be ready to adapt actively as you go on, right? So my funny motto is, whenever people ask me what are your plans in the future, or whatever, all those questions which are generic cliched questions, my answer is of course I have a pseudo plan, but I plan for the next 5 minutes. I take life 5 minutes at a time. That's how what I do, right? That's my way of doing things. So of course it changes from person to person, but that's what I would say is one of the things. And another thing they say about is social anxiety, and which is a very good point, right? And which is common. So in my case, I am also, I tend to be reserved. I am not a very social guy in general. Um, I take time to get into crowds. And I think it is actually a good point, because I think there'll probably be other stuff in the future maybe as well, where they talk about making friends and everything, right? So I think we can just talk about it now as well. I think, yeah, of course, when you are moving to a new place, new wherever, it's always going to be difficult to adapt anywhere, right? And that's a challenge, right? That's part of the learning curve. So when you're starting your undergrad, it's not just that your everything is focused on, sorry, your academics, your grades, and all those stuff, right? Of course, that is major part of it, but how are you adapting to the lifestyle here, everything, all those stuff are they're very important, right? Because that happens at all stages in life, probably, right? um yeah, so that's a part of it. And social anxiety is something, I think it depends, it's a very personality based, right? In my case, I can say I can say I'm an introvert. So I'm an introvert, so I tend to be very reserved in general as well. um so I probably cannot, I'm not a very good person to suggest you or advise you on how to make friends and stuff, right? Because I've always had a small bunch of people, and I was always fine with it. I never seeked a lot of friends, or I never wanted to make a lot of friends, right? I always had a small group of people, and I used to stick with it, and that's how I was. um, so I probably I'm not the best person to suggest how to make friends and stuff. But one thing I can suggest is, uh, don't just like socialize just for the sakes of it, right? Or just make friends for the sakes of it. Because as you move on further down the line as well, you're gonna get many temporary people, and many people, of course, like you're gonna find very different. Like, of course, there's a variety of personalities and like so many different kind of people. But of course, genuine people or good people, it depends, right? Because anything can happen. It's not necessarily that. So yeah, but the point is, making focus on making good quality friends rather than just trying to socialize and like just try to get people like interact with people, right? I think that is one of the most important things I want to say in general in life as well, because there might be times where you think someone is good, or they are like helping you, or like they are your friends, but it's possible that they might not be, and their intentions might be different and stuff, right? And that happens. That's common. As you go down the line in life, you open up to the world more, like more and more people you're interacting with, and you're involved in some way, pseudo way. um, that stuff, the chance of that stuff happening increases, right? Because in school and stuff, like there are mostly we are like kids and really good people, and I'm sure, of course, even in, of course, undergrad, I'm not saying there's going to be such people, but I'm saying even in down the line in future, it's important to not make a lot of friends, but make quality good connections, even if it's one or two for that matter. Of course, like some few hold on, that's still good enough rather than making a lot of friends. But yeah, I think I want to open this question for others as well, if anyone. So how, if I'm sure there are other people as well who are trying to make connections and socialize and stuff, right? That is very important. That's very important, right? Because making connections in universities and stuff is one of the most important things, right? Because you're gonna eventually, after 3 4 years, you're gonna graduate and branch out, but uh, everyone coming from different backgrounds and making good connections, or like just not only good but like just like friends normal, like not even strong, but having like knowing people is gonna help you a lot in future, right? Because you never know who comes will help you, or like you can just contact in the future. So of course, making connections is 100% important. I have no doubt about it. So any one of you maybe has any advice or what they think they have been doing um, to maybe get into social gatherings, or like get in contact with new people or something like that. Anyone maybe has a suggestion? So maybe because one thing that maybe comes to my mind is groups, like clubs, right? Like you can join clubs where like common, like people with common interest come together, right? So for example, if you love playing video games, or you are into reading, for example, so there's going to probably a reading club. If you go there, like similar interest people come in. If you play sports or some other, like there are many different clubs, right? It can be anything. It may be even study related, or maybe if you go to libraries and stuff, there are like people who like go sit and study there and stuff. So maybe it's possible that you come across people and like meet people there. So that is something that comes to my mind, right? And of course, there are like frat houses, but I've never much got involved with that, because my undergrad was not here, right? So I'm not familiar with the frat culture, but maybe some of you would know better. So I think that is also possible. Um, and yeah, there are parties and stuff that happen, so that is also a good way. But yeah, any one of you, if they have any suggestion on socializing, or how, like maybe how they how they get in, like got friends, or let's say how they're meeting new people in some ways, anything. Okay, so let's get to the next one. So this, they say, forming good study habits. I've never been really able to study, and now it's imperative that I know how to, as now in college. but I'm not sure as to what works best for me in terms of remembering information. So far, I know that making analogies works, but I've never been able to do this a little bit within only a couple of classes. Good study habits. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I think this is something very specific to everyone, right? So, like each individual has their own habits, I'll say, or their way of studying, right? Um, so, like for example, when I was in undergrad, or even now in grad school and stuff, um, I am a night person, right? I am better at night, so I am more active, I'll say, rather than night. I was never uh, better in, like, I was never good at waking up early and studying and do all this stuff. I just cannot do it even now, right? But they're like, but in general, if you look, most of the people would say that it's a good practice, right? So I'm not denying that it is not. It is not how I can work. um, I can study till, let's say, 1, 2, 3 at night probably, but I cannot wake up at 4, 5, 6, or 7, let's say, and then study. So I think studying good study habits are specific to you, and I think maybe you can talk with people around you and how they like do stuff, or like after like you. I think the best advice is that as you go on, move on in your college life, maybe you'll understand more about yourself. I think that's the best part. You learn more about yourself and try to understand yourself better and how you would perform best. Sorry. So I think that's the best way to go ahead, is trying to understand yourself and what helps you more, rather than trying to follow something. Oh yeah, you can even try different things and then figure out which one is more better, like you are for like doing better in that way. So you can try different strategies and stuff, right? Yeah, and they say about memorizing stuff, remembering information. So yeah, I mean that's of course a little tricky. Maybe they're like different. I think probably you all already know, like some of you probably you have better ways of remembering stuff than rather me. But maybe some people write stuff, like making notes, and maybe going through the notes maybe helps. Or I know that some people even used to like make another notes, like the way we make cheat sheets and stuff, right? So what you can do, like people make like more concise notes, like where you have like very like important information or something is important, and then just do that. So maybe you can do that. Maybe is so any one of you, if they have some good trick or some tips on memorizing or something, if they can share, I think it'll be helpful for a lot of people. Maybe even me. Maybe I am also not good at that good at remembering these some information. So maybe you would have followed that in your high schools and stuff. So yeah, if anyone wants to go ahead, they can say that. Okay, so another one. This new one is, so yeah, they talk about moving 11 hours away to a different state has brought many ups and downs. Yeah, that makes sense. True. So one up was being able to reinvent myself, start over. I've always struggled with confidence. Therefore, when moving here, I decided to change how I present myself to peers. Since moving, I have made so many great friends. But coming to a state school from out of state can also make making friends difficult. For example, many people already have friends group, and becoming a new member in an established friend group is difficult. And yeah, that's true. That's 100% correct, and something similar to what we're talking, right? Making friends and adapting to a new place, right? I think that's something I haven't talked. So it's not easy because everyone has different lives. They're coming from different backgrounds and stuff, right? Everyone is having their own backstory and their own challenges, right? Everyone has their different circumstances. So yeah, I think adapting is a very, very crucial thing. Like, so for someone, just like studying and getting grades is most difficult part, but for others, maybe that is easier because it's maybe not difficult for them. But adapting here and stuff is probably even more difficult now. So yeah, the challenges are very subjective, and I think, yeah, I think, I think, but this is important, right? These experiences are something that actually will help you a lot, and that's what I've been suggesting over the past few years to my even my friends or my relatives or my parents, everyone who are around me. That so moving out of your house, like going out, living on your own, like from undergrad and stuff, is in itself a very good start, right? And a very good time to do that and to get that experience in, because you learn a lot of stuff about life, about the world, about like you become a more realistic person, I'll say, rather than because you move out of your comfort zone, right? You have to struggle a lot on your own. That's the most important part. Of course, you have your parents. Of course, you have parents, your family, you have your friends and stuff. But like you start taking responsibility on your own, right? You become more responsible and you get out there on your own. And I think that is very, very good. And this experience is 100% gonna help you a lot, because that's how you're gonna go up ahead. So it's good that you're facing these challenges, and you should experience this and go ahead. And I think everyone will do fine with this. So that's a good thing. And yeah, I think making friends, I think they'll come as time goes. But choosing quality friends is important than making just new friends. I think that's my way. Yeah, so now this new one, as they say, I have been having pretty good time at just in college. I wanted to say that I want to change or adapt to better. It would be to the academic pressure that I feel. School always came fairly easy to me in high school, but classes in college are harder and they take a lot more energy out of me. I spent a lot of time studying and doing homework, and I'm always up on top of work and even work hard to get ahead. However, still feel constant pressure to be always doing something and that I am not working hard enough. Also, on top of workload, classes are just harder, and I need to work on just not being as hard on myself academically. Yeah, that's I think that's a good way to end, right? So so they are doing good, right? They know they're working hard, they are staying on top, they're studying and doing homework, and it's not like they're lagging behind, they're like actually doing well. But they still feel that they have a constant pressure of probably doing better, because and I think that's gonna always be there, right? You're always gonna be feeling like you can do more, you can always do more. Um, and that's, I think, always going to be a issue, right? So in my case, for example, when I was doing my masters like last year, like 2 years back, same thing happened to me. Like I changed my field from engineering, electronic engineering, to physics, right? So I knew that it's going to be very difficult for me to adjust there, because there are people with me, around me, who are doing their PhDs or masters again, like with me, and they have done their undergrad in physics, and like they are comfortable with what they are doing. But I have to start afresh. Like I have to read the undergrad, uh, the whole of undergrad years material, as well as the grad. So I have to work hard, and I was doing that. um, but what I realized was, after a time, you tend to get burned out. I think I have also said before, but you tend to get burned out, right? And you shouldn't get till to that point. So even if you feel this constant pressure that you can do more, you're like, you have time, why I'm doing this, why I'm chilling out or stuff, or I can even do more. But I still suggest you should take time out for yourself, for just relaxing, chilling, or doing whatever. Like, be it even I think it's very important, because uh, over the time, you don't want to overburden yourself or overwork yourself, and then it just backfires, right? You go to the same point where, so you won't be able to you are just probably just working hard, but your efficiency and effectiveness of that product or the work or the productivity is not that great. So that doesn't make sense. So what I that's my also my way of doing. I do not work. Of course, hard work is important. I am not discouraging hard work. Hard work is always good, but I am not the guy who used to work a lot hard. Like my philosophy is do smart work rather than hard work. That's what I do. I won't I'll try to find ways in which I can reduce my work and intelligently try to get the solutions to the thing in an easier way or a smaller way. So that's my way, and I think that's one of the things that you might try, right? So, maybe plan out or think on what you can do in a better way, and then rather than just constantly, let's say for example, like if you know in corporate jobs, it's like you go there at 9, come back at 5 or 6, right? It's like a clock thing. But it's possible that they are not productive enough, right? But it is possible that there are other people who work lesser but in a smaller time, in their way, their own time, and they get the same or better output even, right? So I'll suggest don't you're already doing better, like stay put with that. Don't put pressure on yourself for that. um, but and take time, relax, do what you love, not just keep on studying or stuff. Don't stress yourself out. um, uh, yeah, because that's not all. Studying is not all everything. um so this one they say is challenging because you have to study most of the times. Yeah, it's because college is hectic, right? Yeah, so this is true. Of course, jumping from high school to undergrad is a good big jump, right? You have to adapt again, right? So it comes back to that. You have to adapt slowly. You'll get the gist of how better you can handle your life here, and I think that comes from experience. So just keep on doing, keep figuring out. So the best advice is don't just go with the flow. You should never go with the flow or just keep doing things mechanically and monotonously or just something like that, right? Like think, you should always think, always plan out. Don't follow certain things just because others are doing, or because you like just someone tells you. Think if it's correct for you, if you want to do it, and what can be better, worse, and then go. So make your own way. Be don't stress out on just doing stuff just from jumping one place to another, then just moving in series. That's not I think that's not a good way. So take your time, chill out, also do all stuff. Don't stress out on, don't get overwhelmed. Of course, it's a place where you will get overwhelmed, so many things happening, this just, and I think midterms are here. But take time to think and be yourself, take time to be with yourself as well. That's also very important, and I think I'll come to that later on as well. I want to improve by making friends, studying more, reading. So yeah, they have something some similar works. Uh, so overall, I feel I've adjusted to college well. If I had to choose one thing that's bothering me, it would be my studying habits. I'm doing well, currently staying on top of the homework, and being prepared for exams and stuff. Uh, so yeah, so they feel that's good that they're doing good. They're feeling good about themselves, which is that's a good thing. But but yeah, so I think they're just trying to be more efficient, right? So yeah, I think your studying patterns and how you do other stuff, I think you can build up how as you go on in an undergrad, right? As you go move on, you will try to figure out which are better patterns, which are better way of the way for you rather, right? Okay, so this they now this new they say they start with time. So I think balancing sleep, work, friends, and football and any other things is really difficult. You have to prioritize the things that are most important, but I wish I could do it all. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So yeah, sleep is very important, right? For sure. I think you all know sleep is important. um, but don't compromise a lot on sleep. Like, I am probably the last person to say this because uh, um, I myself am not good at sleeping much because I don't like it's not very easy for me to sleep, right? I mean, it's not, I don't fall asleep very quickly or easily. It's difficult for me to sleep, however tired I am or worked out I am. But hence I even know better why sleep is important, right? Because I feel that people who are like, I feel that those people are lucky who can like sleep very easily, fall asleep easily, or like it's very easy for them to sleep and have like good hours of sleep. So that's something that bothers me as well. Like, sleeping is very important, I know that, but it's very difficult for me to fall asleep. So if you can sleep 100%, sleep well, it's very important. Don't stress out on other things. And yeah, so time, of course, time management is something even I am trying to learn, right? Because it's an ever learning process. How to manage your personal life, your work life, your, and all those stuff, like whatever divisions you have. um so yeah, that's something everyone is, I think we keep on learning as we move ahead. So I think that's a good point. But yeah, it's a ever continuous process, I think. Okay, a thing I struggle with being in college is being far away from and missing people back home. It's just a struggle to not want to go home at all the time. Yeah, I think that's very valid, right? Because like, if in my case, so I live, like my family is in India, right? So they are like, I don't know how far away. I don't know the distance, but if I want to say in terms of time, the time zone difference is 9.5 hours, right? They are 9.5 hours ahead. So uh, it's 4:30 here right now. It's around 2 a.m. there in India right now, right? So for me, I understand these stuff, but I think, of course, it's nothing wrong in feeling that you're missing your people or your family, friends, and everything. Um, I personally don't much, because eventually you get happy, like you get happy, like you adapt to your surroundings, right? um, but yeah, I mean, of course, I won't say that you should not think about these stuff, because it's going to happen. It's natural to uh, think about, like, about your friends, family, and the place you have been living for most of your life, probably, right? Because that's what your surrounding was, your place was, let's say. But this is part of this new adapting and experience thing, right? Eventually you're gonna grow up. You're adults now, you're 18, and you're gonna become 18, or you're 18, and in life ahead, it's like eventually you have to be responsible for your own, right? Like, you are not always gonna be having people around your back physically or together, right? Like, of course, morally, and they're always there. Everyone is always there with you, forever. Not forever, because eventually you die, me die, everyone dies. But yeah, I mean, they are with you, right? So uh, I think this is something about acceptance, right? Though I'm not saying to ignore these feelings, you should have this is completely valid, but then you have to accept that at this moment you cannot be there, or they cannot be with you. Eventually, when there's like holidays and stuff, you're gonna go back and stuff. So that's how it's gonna be. They're there always together, but you have to accept and adapt, right? So that's what I'll say. um and yeah, maybe, of course, I suggest you can, like, maybe every day at least once, you can call your family, your parents, and like have a talk. So what I do is, maybe at night, um I just can, like, I just give a call and I talk to my parents, my brother, and stuff, right? Like, of course, you won't have anything talked about every day, but like, it's not just for you, it's also for them, right? Because it's not just that you're missing them, it's also that they are also missing you, right? Equally, your parents and your brother and family and relatives, friends. So it's like it comes both ways. So just talk to them, keep in touch, and whenever you get a chance, you can go back in holidays and have fun. But yeah, because you have to accept that this is how things are gonna be. You have to adapt, and eventually you'll be fine with it. Eventually, it won't bother you much. But yeah, making new friends, social anxiety, yeah, something similar. I had pretty severe social anxiety. Yeah, I understand. I am an introvert as well. Uh, oh, okay. Uh, okay. Um, uh, Get to meet. I think. So yeah, they say now they have a friend, and I hope to join more groups, gain confidence, and find people to share same interest. Yeah, that's good. That's good that you know things about yourself and you're like taking stuff. That's good. Um, so yeah, I think as you said, joining groups is a good way. Like, join clubs. Clubs. There are so many clubs that are in our university. That's a very good way to find people with similar interests, and that's a good way to start with, right? Because that's what I feel is a very good, because it's very difficult for me to randomly go and talk with a random person, right? Because I personally am not good at small talk. I don't like like I don't prefer small talks. I mean, I just don't feel about much about it, about doing that. But yeah, if you have some topic to talk about, and something like you already know that the other person has something common, some common interests that you have and stuff, then you know that you can talk about on that topic and like start some conversation, right? Because a starting conversation is also not easy. Like, for me also, it's not easy. But once you know that there's something common to talk about, it gets easier, right? Because you know a starting point, right? So yeah, finding groups is, I think, a very good idea. I'll say. I find that a lot of things right now for me seem a bit odd. For one, I find it hard to do something with extra time that you have. I would go more in depth about it, but that's pretty much it. I also find listening in class and studying hard. Hmm. So yeah, I think you can settle in. I mean, it's of course things change. Like, there's so many different things are happening with you right now. So many new experiences. It takes time to adapt. Right, everyone has their own time to adapt. And yeah, or doing something in your extra time, I'll say do what you love, do what you like, right? Don't just stress out on studying and all those stuff. Like, when you have extra time, free time, actually do stuff that you want to do, that you like, or that something new, maybe just something, do something new. So for example, in summer, so I always wanted to do skydiving. So when I was like uh, a small kid, I was given an opportunity. I was in South Africa. I was gonna do, but then for some reason they had to cancel it, and I couldn't do it. But this summer, uh, I did it. So I did skydiving here, which is nearby. It's like 30 minutes from here in Orange, and it was fun. It was super fun. So like, doing new stuff uh, is a good thing. When you get new experiences, do something you like or love. I'll say, in extra time. Don't stress out. Just because ultimately you are living, right? You have to live. You don't want to survive. You want to thrive. You wanna enjoy your time here. I mean, because I don't know what else are we here for. We don't know why and stuff. So better spend our time doing good stuff. Um, Something I want to improve is my note taking for my classes. That's a good point. They're not condensed. So what I suggest is, as you, because I think many people would do that. So um, take notes in your classes, and maybe later on, if you review or not, whenever you just revise it or stuff, make a secondary note, a small like page or something. Like try to just get the important things into it. Like that's what I'll say. Try to get the important thing which are actually crucial and not just other information, and like get it condensed. Like try like and that is something that you learn as you go on. So that's something that's also a skill, right? Because as we have been studying in the class as well before, like getting information, the important information out, like making it a desired information is also important. Like we are converting all those language problems into math problems, right? So that's what we are doing it. We will analyzing the problem and making it better to read. So I think that's a skill. I think just keep on doing it. Try to make condensed notes, and I think you'll get better. And that's a good point. You should for sure do that. Um, they say time management, uh, schoolwork, social life, sports, and they don't have enough time to be alone. Yeah, I think that's very important. Um, but lack of time for myself is at the top of my list. Makes sense. I enjoy my time here, but so far I had not much trouble balancing academics and hobbies. That's nice. So yeah, I think this is a very good point, and I want to emphasize that because I think as I told you, I am more of a my person. So I prefer time on my own, like being on my own rather than just socializing randomly, right? That's how I am. Not necessarily, this is not like something I'm advising, but that's personality based, right? But always for anyone who is as extrovert as for them as well, I think it's important that you have time for yourself, doing things that you love, just thinking for yourself and being just with you, right? And I think that is very, very important because, and that's why I think this name was introspection, right? You have to think for your own, like it's not just doing one thing from the other, hogging from one place to another and doing this sleeping next day. That's not it. You should think. That's the main part, right? Analyze stuff and because not everyone can be on their own, right? That's also a skill, and I think it's very helpful. It's very important, especially after like COVID. We saw that because right, not everyone can be alone. Not everyone can stay on their own, and that's a fact. But if you can, that's a very good. I think it's a very good skill to have, and because not everyone can do that, and that's why probably meditation and all those focus abilities, all those activities which require focus, people, it's difficult for people to do that. Not everyone can do activities which require focus because uh, that's where you're actually focusing or like concentrating your mind, putting all your energy at one point, and that's not easy. And these all these stuff improves your concentration, focus, and all those skills. So I think I think I have a few quotes which actually talk about this solitude and all those stuff, right? So I think it's good. At the end I'll show that. But yeah, that's a very good point. Not enough time to be alone by with myself. I think it's a very, very good point. I've been sick for 3 weeks. They have been to UHS. They have cold. Try to keep healthy habits. Yeah, very important. Healthy habits. Keeping up with the gym, which I'm proud of. That's good. But it's hard to keep up with schoolwork. Yeah, I think it's fine. You'll manage. You'll eventually learn how to manage schoolwork as well as other stuff, right? Because that's how you're gonna adapt. But yeah, I think one point that you talk about is healthy habits, right? And it's very important to do that. I personally, I wasn't good. I was bad at habits during my undergrad. I was a crazy, wild person. I, I used to party a lot and do a lot of stuff. Uh, so and yeah, the thing is, yeah, your body can take that stuff now. You can like probably drink on from so Sunday nights, have fun, party and stuff, and on Monday just wake up and go again. But eventually, as time goes on, your body will start wearing out a little, and um, so yeah, that happens. I mean, you're probably not like, I'm not as good as partying now as I was in my undergrad. That's what I can tell for sure. And I think as time goes on, probably that happens as well. Maybe someone who's like 30 or so, maybe like 5-10 years more older than me, he'll say the same, that it's even difficult. So yeah, I think healthy habits, of course, not a big brainer, but important. Of course, important to have those. I've been feeling really stressed. Yeah, stress. Stress is, of course, uh, a thing that's ubiquitous. Everyone will have that. I can so barely bring myself to do things. This leads to an endless spiral of guilt for not succeeding, which causes me to feel like giving up. So yeah, I think that makes sense. Like stressed, you procrastinate, or like you don't feel like doing stuff and stuff. So I think talking to people and stuff is also good. So if you know there's like psychological services here at our university, can do that. I can go to that. I'm not, because I personally started going to therapy a while back, and it has I was skeptical before about it, but I feel it's helpful. It has helped me for sure. So I 100% recommend, even if you're feeling a little bit stressed or depressed or all those stuff, um, uh, you can, like, you should always uh, go to such services, right? So I don't specifically go to our university services. You can go to your private or other someone you know and stuff. But yeah, you don't, like, mental health is very important factor, and you shouldn't undermine, or like, you should consider it as one of the most, like, this is actually important. Like, I think in this today's world, it is probably the most important thing, which is factoring everyone, and probably going to factor for a while now. Like, physical health is not that big a issue now. Of course it is, because obesity and stuff is also increasing, and of course COVID told us that, yes. But mental health, that's like a concern for the next generation for sure, our generation rather, let's say. So yeah, don't I think it's, even if you feel some extreme emotion, like being stressed is natural, but if you feel it's getting a little extreme, you should always do that. Don't because I recommend it. I personally tried therapy, and I think it's good. So yeah, I think it's just 2 minutes left. I want to show you the like two quotes that I've brought up, and I think it's something similar to what we were talking about before as well, it seems. Can you see the screen? Um, can someone tell me if they can see the screen in the chat or something? I'm not sure if you can. Can you see the code? You can. Okay, okay. Nice. Yeah. So this guy Carl Jung, um, very good philosopher. I think is very good quotes. So he says that solitude is for me a font of healing, which makes my life worth living. Talking is often torment for me, and I need many days of silence to recover from the futility of words. And I think that's something I was also talking about, right? You need time for yourself. You need not, because I feel like having unnecessary social uh, events or just talking with people and stuff, it also drains a lot of energy, right? So it's like just expending energy for nothing. And I also personally am not a fan of it. I tend to be more with myself rather than like just talking for like normal unnecessary stuff. So he talks about the same thing. It is a very difficult thing, and it also heals you, right? He says that he heals you, and it's actually very important to learn that quality skill and be with yourself, spend time with yourself, because many people cannot. And yeah, I think that is very important. The other one, oh, did I stop sharing? And the second quote is also on the same basis. So this is Arthur Schopenhauer, another good philosopher. He says a man can be himself only so long as he is alone. And if he does not love solitude, he will not love freedom. For it is only when he is alone that he is really free. And yeah, I think this is like a good quote to free you from today's class, right? So yeah, of course, I'm not discouraging socializing or like I'm making friends. Of course, make friends and do stuff, but this is also a very important thing to keep in mind. And I think, as one of you also mentioned, that it's important to have time for yourself, and it's very important. And I hardly I encourage you to take out time for it, and it's a very important skill to develop and have in life ahead as well. So yeah, you have to love solitude. And yeah, that's because once you like, that's when you know more about you, who you are, what you are, and stay like, because being in your own mind is another ball game altogether. Like it's uh, it's fun, it's exciting, it's dangerous, it's difficult, it's all the emotions, because it's you. And you just, yeah, but yeah, it's something like that, let's say. But yeah, I think that's today's class. Random stuff, and that's, I think, just wanted to do class. And so yeah, maybe from next class we'll see about more about our courses. Yeah, so you can leave, and thank you so much.
Thank you.